My dad told me he would have preferred a son. For as long as I can remember, my dad always looked at me like something was missing. He bought me gender-neutral clothes, told me not to make too much of a fuss, and corrected me when I laughed too loudly. When I turned 5, he gave me a soccer ball. I had wanted a dollhouse, but he said that was for girls. I told him, but I am a girl, and he replied, for now. I never really understood what he meant. Over time, I started noticing how differently he treated me compared to my male cousins. When they came over, he took them out to the backyard, showed them how to use tools, and laughed with them. With me, he barely spoke. One day when I was 7, I drew a picture of my family for a school project. I had worked really hard on it. I gave everyone colorful crowns, and even wrote underneath, my family is magical. When I showed it to my dad, he stared at it silently and asked, why did you draw yourself in a dress? I shrugged. Because I like them, I said. He crumpled the drawing and threw it in the trash. You won't get anywhere in life like that. I started hiding who I was. I dressed how he wanted, spoke how he wanted. I even tried to walk differently with heavier, less light steps, as he used to say. But it was never enough. He looked at me with disappointment, even when I did everything right. Even when I got good grades. Even when I brought home school awards. When I was 10, I found an old box in his closet while looking for tape. It was full of blue baby items. A onesie, little soccer cleats, a cap. Everything had the same name embroidered on it. Angel. My name isn't Angel. My name is Martina. I stared at the box for a long time until I heard his footsteps in the hallway. I shut it quickly and ran to my room. That night at dinner, I asked, who was Angel? My mom looked down. My dad just said, the son I wanted. I froze. I thought he was joking. But then he added, and then you came. One disappointment after another. I didn't cry. I didn't move. I just finished my dinner in silence and went up to my room. From that day on, I knew that nothing I did would ever change things. I started trying harder. I enrolled in karate classes, even though I was scared. I started watching matches with him, even though I didn't understand them. I tried laughing at his crude jokes, but every time I made a mistake, he yelled at me. This is why I wanted a son, he'd say. With a boy, I wouldn't have these problems. One afternoon, I came home from school with a medal for winning a math competition. I showed it to him smiling, and he said, see, if you were a boy, maybe you could be an engineer one day. My hands trembled with rage. What if I want to be an engineer? I asked. He laughed. That's not a real thing, sweetheart. Better study something that won't disappoint you. I promised myself I'd prove him wrong, that I didn't need to be a man to matter. When I was 14, I built a robot for the science fair. I won first place. I was in the school paper. I got interviewed. I received a trophy. When I brought it home, he set it down on the table without looking at it and said, did you wash the dishes yet? That night, I heard my mom crying. She was alone in the kitchen. I approached her quietly and asked what was wrong. She didn't want to tell me, but I heard her whisper, he'll never love her the way she deserves. At 17, I earned a scholarship to study engineering in another country. When I brought home the acceptance letter, my mom hugged me in tears. My dad, on the other hand, looked at me coldly. You're going to another country, alone, and you're a girl, he said. If you were a boy, at least I'd feel at ease. That night, we argued. I asked why he hated me so much. He raised his voice. Because I never wanted a daughter. Everything would have been easier if you had been Angel. My mom tried to stop him, but I couldn't take